Hello and welcome to Sunday Week 2 edition of Morning Tailgate. I'm the host, Big B, alongside a couple of my guys. Third one is missing in action right now. I think he might have missed the bus on the way to the field. So,
Bro,
Crispy Bacon, how you doing?
doing good. How's everybody doing?
The
Week
working
two.
Crispy Bacon, I should
Yeah,
say. So,
there you go.
all right. And then down
What?
below, over across
Yeah,
the pond, just a little bit away, Tim Hendricks, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing very, very good.
All right. So, guys, let's get into it. Let's kind of recap the Thursday night game. We had
Chiefs and Chargers.
Chargers and Chiefs. Very good game. I would say probably the turning point was that 99-yard interception return for a
Yeah.
touchdown that gave the Chiefs the win. So, Chris, what's your take from that
Uh,
game?
I mean, that was a good game, back and forth. Chargers had to lead most of it.
Yep.
Kansas City doesn't really have a defense. Um, but Herbert played well. I think he's hurt a little bit, but he's supposed to get more tests probably. And Kansas City. I think everybody's on the bandwagon there because of their offense.
Yep, no doubt. And yeah, from what I'm reading, Herbert torn cartilage in his ribs. I don't know how that's possible, but But Tim, what was your take on Thursday night game, Chargers Chiefs?
It looked like at the defensive side of the ball. It seemed like it was a tale of two halves. It seemed like that San Diego's defense showed up in the first half, forgot to kind of show up in the second, and Kansas City's didn't show up in the first, and Kansas City's ended up showing up in the second. Um, I think right now you're going to look at the AFC West is going to go through these two teams. I think you just looked at a. I think this is going to be for years to come. I think this is going to be a great rivalry. I think this was a great game. Um, it kind of gets overshadowed a little bit by the injury to Herbert, but he's day to day, so we're going to see what goes from there.
Yeah, no doubt that West. I mean, I think we said it all season, especially when Russell Wilson got traded there. That this West is going to be a battle for years to come. And right now, I haven't looked at the schedule, but right now, Bills look tough, Chiefs look tough. So if they don't meet in the regular season, I mean, we could possibly see two undefeated teams. So
Yeah,
in the
I can
playoffs,
see that.
but all right. So after week one, now what kind of? I mean, we kind of talked behind the scenes here, but what kind of game stuck out to you guys week one, or a performance that stuck out week one? Tim, I'll start with you.
Um, the thing that stuck out to me the most was in that San Francisco 49ers Chicago Bears game. And it wasn't the Bears. The Bears the Bears took what San Francisco was giving them. Um,
Hmm.
but but San Francisco was giving them. You don't play a game where you give 12 where you give 12 penalties and expect to win the game, and especially with a quarterback like Justin Fields. You give him time, you give him every opportunity. You're gonna pay. It doesn't matter if you're a high school team. It doesn't matter if you're a college team. It doesn't matter if you're an 0-16 team. But you get 11 chances like that, you're going to get hurt. And I saw that. And I could not understand where all the mistakes were coming from. Absolutely undisciplined play.
Well, and that's the thing. I said in a lot of sports, especially baseball. You give that team that extra out or two, it's gonna come bite you in the butt, and that's like you said, Tim. I mean, take out the weather. You give the team other chances to get that first down, make that third down conversion. It's gonna bite you, Chris.
Yeah,
What's your
I mean,
what's your take from week one?
week one was interesting. You almost had two ties in the game with Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, and then Colts and Texans. We know Colts and Texans were the only teams to tie in that in week one. But also just all around, the kicking game wasn't that good.
Yeah, no, for me, I mean, I think week one was a bang. Definitely coming off the playoffs last year. I think week one they started off good. Some good rivalry games, some personal rivalries. Like Chris said, some games came down to the wire, had a tie, almost two ties, had an amazing weather game in Chicago. Um,
Yeah.
brought out probably most of our childhood dreams playing in the rain, snow, stuff like that. But week one was good. So let's move on to week number 2. So it started off Thursday, of course, with the Chargers, Chiefs. Chris,
Yeah.
we all had the Chiefs playing winning except for Tim. So Tim's already down 1-0. But going in with the Thursday game, so Chris, you're leading with 10-6-1. You also nailed your lock last week with the Bucks over Dallas. I'm 8-8-1. I did not hit my lock because the Lions does nothing but upset me every time. Dave is 7-9-1, and he hit his lock, which I believe was the Saints. And then
Barely.
Tim was 5-11-1 right now, and he did not hit his lock. So when we get to the locks, remember, guys, we can only pick that one lock once, so cannot use any locks we've already picked. So, Chris, I'll start with you. We got the Jets, Chargers. Jets are 0-1. I'm sorry, Jets and the Browns. Jets are 0-1. Browns are 1-0. Browns are favored by 6.5, and the over/under is 39.5. So, who do you got?
I'm going to Browns. I don't see New York pulling it off.
All right, I'm also going with the Browns too. I think, yeah, I can't believe I'm saying the Browns after what they've gone through, but I can't see the Jets winning. Tim, who do you got?
Well, we're going to start sounding like a broken record. I can't believe I've got the Browns too.
Yeah, I don't know, and I mean Brissett. I mean he's a game manager. That's all the Browns need right now. They got a decent running game, so. And then once mess around, Dave chimes in. We'll definitely get his games. We'll probably go back quick. So, game 2, we got the Commanders at 1-0. The Lions are 0-1. This game is now even. And the over under is 48.5. So, Tim, who do you got?
Well, I got to admit, the Lions impressed me last week against the Eagles. I wasn't. They had that lead early in the game. Jalen did a lot to bring that team back. I have no animosity towards Carson Wentz, but I'm taking the Lions.
All right, Chris, how about you? The Lions, or Lions, Commanders and Lions.
Oh, Commanders. I'm going Washington.
All right, so let's go Commanders. Now I gotta say that the Lions at one time they were favored for the first time in like 24 to 28 games. Now the game's even. I'm going to Lions. I'm with Tim. They kind of impressed me. Nothing against Wentz. I mean, he did play pretty good in their week 1 game, but Lions at home. I'll take them.
Ever since Campbell came to
So the third game, we got the Bucks versus the Saints. Bucks 1-0 are favored by 2.5. Saints are 1-0. The over under is 43.5. I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I can't not go against Tom Brady, even though I mean he did throw a touchdown pass last week. I don't believe. I think it was all field goals.
most of it.
Saints are at home. It would not surprise me if the Saints win, but I gotta go with Tommy and the Bucks. Chris?
Who are they? Or they're going up against the Saints, right?
Yep, in New Orleans.
You should take Brady, but I feel like the Saints. I'm
going
going
Saints?
Brady. I'm going Brady.
You're going Brady. All right, Tim.
Yeah.
Who you got?
All right. I saw a really, really interesting stat this morning. Well, this morning, your bedtime. That Tom Brady since joining the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is 0-4 against the New Orleans Saints.
Oh, wow.
That's why I was going back and forth. It's like,
And I went back and forth, and I've had my picks ready since Wednesday.
oh wow.
Okay.
But I'm still taking the Buccaneers.
All right. I wonder how many times they'll use that stat that since Brady's been with the Bucs that he's not beating the Saints. All right. So moving on to game 4, Panthers 0-1 versus the surprising 1-0 Giants. Giants are favored by a point. Over under is 43.5. Chris, who you got?
For which game?
The Panthers Giants in New York.
Panthers.
All right. Tim, who do you got?
Well, I think I'm going to shock everybody at this point. After what the Giants did last week, I have the Giants.
No, you're not shocking anybody, Tim, because I had the Giants too. I still think the Panthers are better than what they are, but Giants at home coming out that big win last second, I think it was.
Yeah.
And went for a 2-point conversion. They could have tied it, but they said, no, we're going for the win. So that's a team that knows they have nothing to lose in any of their decisions this year. So they're going to be a scary team. I'm going Giants too.
Yeah.
All right. Next game, we got the Patriots 0-1, which are favored by 2.5 versus the Steelers 1-0. Over under is 40.5. Tim, who do you got?
Being a Colts fan, these next words are going to hurt. I've got. Let me double check because I could have this wrong. No, actually, with these words aren't going to hurt. I have the Steelers.
Oh,
because if I'm not mistaken, Mac Jones just got back to practice on Friday.
Okay, that could be right.
So,
all right, Chris, who do you got?
I don't know how he's going to be. So, yeah, you have to go Steelers on that.
All right. Chris, who do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I got the Steelers too. I don't know. The Colts have been up and down the last couple of years, and he almost had the win last week, but I think the Steelers are going to.
You're talking Patriots. Steelers, Chris.
Oh, Patriots. Yeah. Steelers. Sorry.
I understood what he meant, though.
I do too. I know what he meant too. I'm going the Steelers mainly just because they're at home. I mean, you can't knock Belichick and stuff, but he's not the same since he lost his quarterback. I mean, he's still Belichick. He's still the brains, but Steelers. I think mainly just because they're at home. So the next game, we got the Colts versus the Jags. Colts are 0-1 versus the Jags that are 0-1. Colts are favored by 3, and the point spread is over-under is 43.5. So, Tim, this is your team. I'll let you take it away.
This one hurts. As much as you want, everything goes back to last year, and basically laying that big goose egg going into the losing to Jacksonville and Jacksonville. It's so common at this point. The last time Indy beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville was 2014.
Ooh.
Wow.
It was the home opener in Jacksonville. Andrew Luck was the starting quarterback for the Colts. The starting quarterback was Chad Henne.
Wow.
Indy put 30 points up. Indy put 30 points up in the first half against the Jaguars. They came out in the second half, the Jaguars did, and that started the Blake Bortles era in Jacksonville.
Wow.
That score, I think, ended up 44. I think that game ended up 44-17. So that tells you that this one stings a bit. we don't have two of our wide receivers. We don't have our number one. We don't have Michael Pittman Jr.
Yep.
We don't have possibly our number two wide receiver in Alex Pierce because he's in concussion protocol. We're bringing a new kicker in. We don't have Shaquille Leonard, and if I'm not mistaken, Kenny Moore III is questionable.
Wow.
I haven't heard the injury report for Jacksonville. I don't think the streak stops this year. I think Jacksonville wins this game.
Oh, wow. Chris, how about you?
Jacksonville's at home, right?
Yeah, Jacksonville's at home.
I would like to see Jacksonville win it, but I feel like the Colts are going to win it. I'm going
Okay,
Indianapolis.
you're going Colts. Now, looking at the quick injury report that ESPN has, Jacksonville is claiming to be 100% healthy, so nobody's on the injury. Pierce is out, Leonard is out, Moore is out, or Moore is questionable, Buckner is questionable, and Pittman Jr. is out. So yes, Colts are hurting. I'm going to change my pick because I had the Colts, but after what Tim said, it's his team, and I'm going to go Jags. I literally had it written down, but I'm going Jags. And knowing that they haven't won since 2014 in Jacksonville, I mean that definitely puts it on there. So, all right. So next game we got, and this is the last game of the early games. So we got the Dolphins at 1-0 versus the Ravens at 1-0. Ravens are favored by 3.5. Over under is 44.5. I'm going the Ravens. I'm going Dolphins in the upset. I think there's a lot going on with the Ravens, and I think Tua and Hill and company are going to just keep improving and be connected. And that defense still is, pretty decent defense. So I'm going to go Dolphins. Chris?
Yeah, I'm going to Ravens. I think they're going to go 2-0. I mean, they're at home, so why not?
All right. Tim?
I like what I saw last week with Tua and Tyreek Hill. I wasn't expected to say that. I thought what they did last week was pretty special. Opening day. I've got the Dolphins.
All right. So, like I said, guys, people that are watching, we will hopefully have Mess Around Dave on to get his pick, so we might be going backwards a little bit here. If not, we'll catch up with them next week. So, all right. Yep. Now starting the later games. Seattle, a surprising 1-0, I think, versus the 0-1 49ers. The Niners are favored by 9 points in this game. Over under is 40.5. Chris, who do you have?
Who are the Niners facing?
The Seattle and the Niners.
Oh, okay. I'm going Seattle.
All right. Tim, who you got?
If I need Brock Purdy to start by week 7, I need the Sea Chickens to win today. So I'm taking the Seahawks.
All right. I think we're going to have to try to work at a Purdy explanation every week until he starts. I'm going to Seattle too. I just, I know the Niners are at home, and like Tim said, Niners gave Bears a lot of grief. Holy buckets! That is not Dave Mess Around, but that is Sarge without the stash. How you doing, Sarge?
I'm doing good. Doing very good. I have a great story. I was wishing I could make it on Kicking It last night, but couldn't make it. But I heard Seattle versus 49ers.
All right. So, who you got in the Seattle 49er game?
Believe it or not, I actually got the Seattle Seahawks during this game. Okay. I think this team is put together better than what the 49ers are, even though Samuel is still there. But Trey Lance, the way he played last week, I don't trust the 49ers whatsoever this week. Trey Lance, he is going to be a one-and-done quarterback. He's going to start 1 year. Jimmy G might be taking over here shortly if it continues with Trey Lance. I mean, you cannot win a game if you throw under 50%.
Yeah.
And only have 200 yards. So,
yeah. Well, Tim, next year, he said week 7, Purdy's going to be starting in San Fran, so he's sticking to it. So, Mr. Irrelevant. All right. Yeah. So, next game, and I got Seattle just in case I didn't clarify before Sarge came on. Next game, we got the Bengals 0-1, who are favored by 7, over the Cowboys 0-1. Over under is 41.5. Chris, you going to do it 2 weeks in a row to us, or what do you got?
I'm doing it 2 weeks in a row. I got Cincinnati. If Dak was playing, maybe I'd pick Dallas, but he's not playing. I think it's going to hurt Dallas.
All right, Tim. Who do you? We'll go with Tim Hendricks. Who do you got?
I've got Cincinnati because of Dak being out. If Dak wasn't out, I think it'd still be a tougher call.
Okay, Sarge.
Give me Cooper Rush. Why not?
Oh.
Yeah, I'm going Dallas too. I think Cooper Rush. I mean, he came in last year, started, beat the Vikings. Give him another start. I mean, Bengals. I mean, Burrow looked awful last week, so I think he had 5 turnovers. I think it was last week. So Cowboys. I think defense. I think the defense is going to hold these guys into the game. It'll be a defensive win, I think. All right, so next game, we got the 0-1 Texans versus the 0-1 Broncos. Broncos are favored by 10.5. Point spread over-under is 45.5. Sarge, I'll start with you. They got your old quarterback.
Give me the Broncos.
All right.
Because you got Jared Goff awful on the Lions. So
Texans Broncos.
Oh, Texans Broncos?
Houston.
Oh.
Houston.
Yeah, give me the Broncos.
They probably still got god awful at quarterback. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I like Mills, but I don't think he could beat the Broncos.
All right. Tim Hendricks, who do you have?
I like Davis Mills, but I think last week was an aberration. I think the fourth quarter is more of what you're going to see of the Texans this year, not the first 3. Actually, maybe not the second and the third quarter. I've got Denver.
Okay, Chris.
Yeah, I got Denver too. Houston hasn't been playing that well, and you got Russell Wilson over at Denver. So,
yeah, I got the Broncos too. I just think them being home up by 10, Texans, like we said, I think was aberration. So I got the Broncos also. So. All right, next game. Cardinals 0-1 versus the Raiders 0-1. Raiders favored by 5.5. Over-under is 51.5, so they're expecting some kind of high scoring. I'll start. I got the Raiders. Raiders at home. Cardinals kind of are a mess right now, so I think the Raiders are going to pull this off. Sarge, who do you have?
If Kyler Murray is the quarterback, the Cardinals will not win.
Plain and simple. I like it, Sarge. Hendricks, who do you have?
Mm-hmm.
Even though J.J. Watt's going to be back today on a pitch count, I've got the Raiders.
All right. And surprising Chris, who do you have?
I got the Raiders.
All right. Yeah, I didn't think anybody was going to pick anything different. So the next game, we got the 0-1 Falcons versus the 0-1 Rams. Rams favored by 10.5. Point spread is 46.5. Chris, who do you have?
All the Super Bowl stuff is out of the way. Falcons still struggling. I got the Rams.
All right. Tim Hendricks, who do you have?
If the line holds up better than they did last week, letting 7 sacks go, I think the Rams win all day. I go Rams.
All right. Sarge?
Well, going off of Tim, I don't know who the Falcons have who can rush because I know the Rams are missing that left tackle there. But I got to go with the Rams winning by 35 points.
Speaking of that, I mean, maybe that's where Dave Messround was at. Maybe he got the call from the Falcons to come in and play pass rusher, but
maybe.
This is my lock. I got the Rams. I don't think they can blow 2 games in a row, so I got the Rams in a lock this week. I think they're going to take care of business. So, and then the Sunday night game, we got the Bears 1-0 versus the 0-1 Packers. Packers are favored by 10, over under 41.5. Chris, who do you have?
This would be my lock. I'm going with Green Bay.
All right, so you're going Packers. I saw you cut out a little bit there.
All right. Yeah, Green Bay. Yeah.
All right, Tim Hendricks, who do you have?
I am not going to make this my lock. I don't think Aaron lets 2 games go. I think this is going to be the Packers' game to win.
All right, Sarge.
All right, I've been saying this in the chat for a week now.
And I think I saw your comment.
Bears over the Packers. I think this year, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. He's going to start thinking about a farewell tour starting this year.
Oh, wow. Call
Yes.
For a farewell tour. All right.
I'm going for a grand slam on that one. Eat that, Jason, J Mac, and Ace.
All right. So you're going Bears, I'm guessing. All right. All right.
Yeah.
And I'm going Packers. I don't think they can do it 2 weeks in a row. I mean,
No.
Packers blew last year's week 1 and they came out and started rolling. So, all right. So we got 2 Monday nighters. The first one, Titans 0-1 versus the Bills 1-0. Bills favored by only 10.5 or 10 points. Over under 47.5. Sarge, I'll start with you. Who do you have in the first Monday night game?
The Bills. What they did to the Rams. I mean, come on. The Bills.
All right. Tim Hendricks.
I guess this is going to be kind of common. To piggyback off what Sarge says, when you're stacking to stop Derrick Henry and you don't have really any good wide receivers in Tennessee, this is going to be my lock. This is going to be my lock, and I'm going to take Buffalo to beat Tennessee.
All right. All right, Chris?
I'm going to go Buffalo over Tennessee. Tennessee struggled last week, and I don't know what happened. I mean, I know it came down to a kick, but they still struggled.
Yeah.
So.
No doubt. Yeah, I'm going Bills. I just right now, after what they did to the Rams, like I said before, I think we're going to see a collision down the road if we don't see it in the regular season, which I was just going to look up. Chiefs and Bills in the playoffs. But anyway, so the second Monday night game, the 1-0 Vikings versus the 1-0 Eagles. Eagles favored by 2.5. Over under is 50.5. Chris, I'll start with you. Who do you have in this game?
Yeah, I got Minnesota. I know Kirk Cousins hasn't been really good under primetime lights, but I think he's going to have a good game tonight or Monday night.
All right. Tim Hendricks, who do you have?
I've got the Vikings. After what I saw Detroit do last week to Philadelphia and what Minnesota did to Green Bay, it's hard not to pick for the Vikings in this game.
All right, Sarge?
Well, from what I'm hearing, Minnesota is the best team in the entire NFL. So give me the 17-0 this year Minnesota Vikings.
I know where you're going with that one, but
if you're Michael Irvin,
I don't know. I've been debating back and forth on this, and I know if this gets back to a certain somebody, I'll get called a hater, bandwagon fan. I'm going Eagles. I think it's going to be a close game. Like Chris said, we know the record with Cousins ain't good on Monday night, primetime games. Vikings on the road have always struggled. I like what I saw week 1 against the Packers. I want to see it another week. I want to see if they can do it on the road. And what better way to go into Philadelphia where they hate everybody and Santa Claus? And it's going to be a wild one. I think this might be the game of the week. I think this is going to be a close one. So, but I'm going Eagles in a close one. I do want Minnesota to win, but I want to see that defense perform on the road. So this will be definitely a big test. So that concludes week 2 picks. Do what you want with them. Come back. Tell us all we're full of it next week when your team wins and we picked them to lose.
Mhm.
So, Chris, why don't we get that first topic up there?
All right, guys. Thank you for having me. I got to get going. So, peace.
Thanks. All right, Chris. So let's go to topic number 1 and our sponsor, please.
Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us.
All right. So topic 1, Professor Chris, put your professor hat on. What teams you got this week for our history lesson?
So I got 2 teams. First up, you kind of brought them up earlier. It's the Jets. Kind of like the Cowboys. I guess they first played in 1960. From 1960 to 62, they weren't called the Jets. They were actually called the Titans of New York. They played on a polo field.
Okay.
They haven't been to the playoffs since 2010. They last went to the Super Bowl in 68 where they won. They beat the then Baltimore Colts. They're 414 to 536 losses and 8 ties. This is before last week. And then they're 12-13 in the playoffs. Second team is the Bengals. They kind of came in late. 1968 was their first year. Also, both teams were part of the American Football League before joining the AFC when they merged. They last appeared last year in the Super Bowl for the first time since 1988. Sadly, they are 0-2 in the Super Bowl. Hopefully, they get that first win, soon. 373 wins and 458 losses, 5 ties in the regular season, and 8-15 playoff record.
All right, good history lesson today. Get to learn a little bit about the teams. So,
yeah.
All right, Chris. Let's move into topic number 2 and our sponsor, please. All right. Okay, so this is our Stop Messing Around with Dave Mess Around segment. Of course, Mess Around's not here, so it's going to be hard for him to put his opinion in, but we can do it. It revolves around rivalries. As we all know, Packers, Bears, great rivalry, historic. My question today was, is the Packer-Bear rivalry the best in football? Now, I didn't specify NFL or college, so you guys decide what you want to do. But Tim Hendricks, Bears Packers, best rivalry in football.
I think that goes without saying. The blood feud for that this is a rivalry that has divided families. This is a rivalry that has built blood. This is I think this is the number one. I think anywhere close I think the close second would have to be Dallas, Washington. Those two growing up, if Dallas Washington was on TV, you watched it. It didn't matter if you were a Dallas or a Washington fan. Or when Green Bay was playing Chicago, you watched Green Bay play Chicago. If you didn't have a horse in the race, you just watched them. I honestly think it ranks right up there as probably the best in all of sports.
Okay. Chris, how about you? What do you think?
I would say right now, back then, Washington and Dallas were probably the game to watch. Right now, I think you have the Packers and the Bears on the NFL side, and then there's a lot of college rivalries, but I know down here Texas OU's big one.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody facing Alabama, probably.
Yeah. So. This by far is the NFL. I mean, this is the rivalry of all rivalries. Tim, you alluded to possibly best rivalry in sports. I can't disagree with you on that. And you talked about divided families. Well, Tim, most of my family is Packer fans / Viking fans, but there's a certain cousin of mine that's a Bears fan, and he rubs it into his mom's face every time they win, and his aunt. So, like you said, it divides families. But this is definitely one of the best rivalries. I know Bears have been talking about, I don't know, really moving Chicago, out of Chicago, Illinois to a different relocation. I really hope the Bears never move because I don't think this rivalry could be the rivalry it is if Chicago is not in Chicago. So, but that's definitely a best rivalry there. So, all right, Chris, let's move into topic number 3 in our ad with Bodine book.
Yeah, having technical. Here we go.
No, that's good. Take your time.
All right,
All right.
There you go.
All right, Bodie Sanders' book, fellow colleague of ours here at Coast to Coast. Race Against Race is a journey through his times growing up through sports and how everything affected his life. Endorsed by the Big East Conference. Order yours today on Amazon. I believe it's still near the top of the bestseller list. I know if you're down in Florida, I believe he's doing a little book tour. So check him out. If you got any questions, please reach out and we'll get you in contact with Bodie himself. So, all right. So we kind of renamed this topic. It was Tackling with Tim, but now we're going to name it Timmy's Prime Top 5. So, Tim, and you can explain the behind on what you want this segment to be, but who's your top 5?
All right. This top 5, I know it's beaten down like a dead horse, and every show's got their Power 5. Well, I figure, we need to have one too. Sometimes it might be Power running backs in the league, Power 5 quarterbacks, Power 5 defenses, Power 5 wide receivers. Well, we're just going to go with this being new, we'll give it a shot. We're just going to go Power 5 teams as of right now. And Thursday kind of screwed it up a bit. But my number 5 team is the Buccaneers. It's Tom Brady. It's still Tom Brady. Tom Brady can be a grandpa, and he'd probably still be in the top 5. It's the Buccaneers, and as of right now, when you've got somebody like that, it's hard to root against him. Number 4, you would start thinking that I was a fan of this team, but I'm not. I have the Minnesota Vikings. I saw what the Minnesota Vikings did against Green Bay, against a team that's supposed to be probably the NFC participant in the Super Bowl, and you quiet the fans, you quiet the team down on week 1. So my number 4 team is the Minnesota Vikings. My number 3 team. This is the one that kind of kicked me in the face. I had made this Power 5 before the game on Thursday. I have the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers are just. I don't care if they're 1-1. I think with what they've got, that defense is a top 5 defense. The quarterback is a top top 10 quarterback. I don't want to get in a debate if he's a top 5 quarterback at this point. And he almost leads them back with a fractured cartilage of the rib. And you've got Austin Eckler. They win that game if Keenan Allen's playing. I would almost guarantee it. My number 2 team is the other team from the other sidelines. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a team that is almost stacked to win every week. They're going to be a team that's going to be favored every week this year. There's probably never going to be a week unless some catastrophic injury happens on the Patrick Mahomes side of the football. So Kansas City Chiefs are my number 2. And the number 1 should be pretty much almost obvious at this point. Number 1 team I've got is the Buffalo Bills. This is the favorite. This is the favorite, I think, to be the AFC participant in the AFC in the Super Bowl. Josh Allen just looked like a monster against the Rams on week 1. He's got weaknesses, but they're overshadowed by the multitudes of strengths that he has. So my number 1 team on my Power 5 is definitely the Buffalo Bills.
Okay. And for a second there, I was like, I thought I heard you say the Chiefs were number 1. I'm like, oh, he's leaving the Bills out, but I misheard that. But no, I like the Power 5. I mean, I like what you said with the Vikes and Brady, of course, like you said, can't count them out. And your top 3 teams, I mean, right there, it just shows you how powerful that AFC is. I mean, especially the West, you got 2 up there. And just by looking at the schedule, mark your calendars because October 16th, you got the Bills and Chargers in Kansas, or Bills and Chiefs in Kansas City. So that is definitely going to be one game to watch. I can't wait for that. Hopefully everybody is healthy. So definitely like that. So let's go to our topic 4, Chris.
Yeah.
And this one will be brought to you by our friends of the Oregon Cougar Football Women's Professional League. We just had a meeting with Chuck Foreman, the owner/coach of them. We're expected to do big things with the Oregon Cougars football.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Chuck Foreman, the former running back for the Vikings, Chuck Foreman?
No.
Okay.
No, Hoffman. I'm sorry. I did say Foreman. It's Hoffman. But yeah, trust me, I wish it was. But anyway, so he's the coach/owner. Had a meeting with him. He expected a lot of things from his team, along with Coast to Coast's help. So please keep checking us out for that. October 8th is their signing day, which we will be broadcasting. All right. So last week I took an L in my big baller of the week. I took Russell Wilson. He lost. I mean, didn't play bad, but if they don't win, I don't count it unless it's a superior game and they lose by a fluke. But this week, I am going to go with a young guy who I believe is going to get his first touchdown catch this year. I'm going to go with Mr. Watson from the Green Bay Packers. I think he was just a shoelace away from getting that first touchdown against the Vikings. But I think him and Rodgers are going to hook it up this week, and I'm going to shoot for 1, but it would not surprise me if they get 2. So I'm going to go with Mr. Watson as my big baller this week with the Packers. I think they're going to definitely put on a show. Sorry, Dave. As much as I want the Bears to beat the Packers, I think it's going to be the Packers. So, all right. So looking at some injuries updates that's coming through, it looks like the Saints are going to be without Kamara against the Bucks today. I'm just looking. Kettle is expected to be out again for the Niners. Evans, Fournette to play against the Saints. the Colts, we've already talked about it, ruled out Pittman against the Jags, and it looks like the Bills wide receiver Davis is going to be questionable this week. Also, I just saw a news story here that Taylor is suing the Chargers doctors over his injury last year with the puncture wound, or 2 years ago.
Yeah, I remember that. And Herbert
so
has
that's
to
what
start.
got Herbert to start. So Herbert's got to maybe Herbert could pay the doctor's fines on that one. But with that being said,
But it's interesting.
Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say it's interesting, but not in the way you think, that with these injuries, these players step up, and you think you never heard of him or whatever. But you just got to think what would have been if they never started.
Well, exactly. I mean, we could go all the way back to, Mr. Bledsoe and the Patriots. If he wouldn't have got hurt, we'd have known who Tom Brady is. I mean, whole different thing, like you said. I mean, but yeah. So hopefully
we can go back further yet.
What's that?
We can go back further yet. If Mikowski hadn't gotten injured against the Bengals, we would have never known what Favre looked like.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Favre. I mean, who knows on the running back side if running back A. I mean, Kajana Carter. I mean, if he wouldn't have got hurt week 1, what kind of running back would he have been? I mean,
Right.
So injuries do play a factor, and sometimes it's God's way of saying, "Hey, I want this guy to play." I guess. I mean, and he's going to showcase his talent. So, with that being said, guys, I know we got some minutes here. So, Chris, you got anything?
Who do you think is going to be, as I'm setting my lineups here? Who do you think is going to be the fantasy standout today?
Oh, there you go. So, Tim, why don't you? Let me pull up my lineup. I wasn't expecting this one, so
let me pull up my 4.
Chris, well, who do you got? Who do you think is going to be your standout?
Let's put it out to the people to see if they have any fantasy football questions.
Anybody on?
I think Lamar Jackson. I don't know if he's going to put up big numbers, but I know he can run and pass, and he's good on the ground too. Maybe Lamar Jackson is going to have a big day. He is going against Miami, so.
Yeah. For me, probably because I have him in my combo. I have the quarterback, and I can see Stafford Kupp really stepping it up and helping the Rams rebound. So I think those two are going to have outstanding weeks. So, Tim?
I think Justin Jefferson against that defense. I think Jared Goff tore into that defense. Just think if Kirk Cousins with Justin Jefferson, and is Thielen playing still?
Yeah, Thielen's active playing. So yeah, he's in.
Rieger
is in the lineup. I don't think he's getting much touches right now because I think he's number 4 or 5.
Yeah. But still, I think Justin Jefferson against that defense is gonna look crazy. I think Justin Jefferson, if he gets 2 touchdowns, I think he's gonna put 165 and 2 up.
Ooh, all right, got a low.
I think it's gonna be big numbers.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, Vikings have always been known to have decent running backs. Granted, we've had a couple good receivers, Moss being one of them, and now Jefferson. But the Vikings have always been a run-heavy offense, and now Jefferson, Thielen, I can't think of the other 2 receivers. They're tight end. Even Cook out of the backfield. I mean, they've come up being an all-rounded offense. So, yeah, I could definitely see. And like you said, Tim, if Jefferson puts up 160 and 2, I mean, they should win. So, Chris, who do you have as your spotlight fantasy guy?
Ooh, maybe I'm thinking Russell Wilson.
Yeah, Russell Wilson. I could see being another one. Definitely, on the defensive side, I think if you don't have the defense, I think the Cowboys, I think are going to have a stellar offense because definitely if Burrow played like he did last week, Dallas is going to be all over that interceptions, those turnovers, and Dallas defense doesn't let points go without saying. So, um, but with that being said, guys, again, mess around has something come up, so we'll definitely get with him next week, and hopefully he gets us his picks and he can be back next week. Again, enjoy all your football games. Again, check us out for Oregon Cougars women's professional football. Yes, we did say women's professional football, which still it's football. We all like that. So, Tim, what's your final thoughts for starting of week 2?
I think week 2 is going to be fun. I think week 2, if week 1 is any indication of what week 2 is going to look like, I think week 2 we may have upsets. I think parity in the middle of this field is going to be fun to watch. I think we're going to get some great games. These 1:00 games look amazing. I think these are going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Okay. Since you brought it up there, probably outside of the Bears-Packer game, what game are you looking forward to watching this today, Tim?
Outside of the Colts-Jacksonville game, a game I wouldn't mind seeing how is Tampa Bay, New Orleans.
Yep.
Tampa Bay, New Orleans looks like if New Orleans is going to play like they played in the second half of that game against Atlanta, I think that game's going to be fun to watch. I think I would that has the potential of being a high scoring game, or somebody forgot to show up. I think that's
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be. It's just going to be. I think it's just going to be fun. If you like Tom Brady and you want to see Tom Brady throw the football all over the field, it's going to be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, especially with a lot of experts. Some reason we're picking the Saints to dethrone them, so that's definitely going to be one. All right, Chris, final thoughts and your game of the week.
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching, tuning in. Hopefully it's a good NFL week 2. The game I'm interested, besides Dallas and Cincinnati, probably can Denver win a game with Russell Wilson.
Okay.
That's going to be the question, I think.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thanks for everybody for watching. Sorry for jumping on. It's always good to see him. Always good to chat with you guys and get in comments. For me, the game I'm going to be kind of intrigued to watch. Commanders and the Lions. Like I said before, Lions were favored at one time for the first time in like 24, 28 games. Now that game's even, so I'd like to see what the Lions could do. Like Tim said, they put up some decent stats against the Eagles, who were picked to be a playoff team. So let's see what that can do. But with that being said, guys, thank you again for watching, joining. We'll see you all next week on Morning Tailgate. Have a good one.